All right, all right, all right. Hello and welcome to another masterclass, guys. Bit of a smaller turnout. That is deeply unfortunate, all things considered. Mostly because the topic that we want to talk about today is actually going to be a seriously big topic, and it's also a topic that, in my opinion, is actually probably the most important topic we've ever talked about. Mostly because of a couple of reasons. The biggest one, of course, being the biggest one I would say being this is probably consistently the biggest weak point in almost all of the ring match evaluations that I've done. All of the ring match evaluations that I've seen, I would say that this is the biggest weakness in literally every player that I've seen, including the Angel trainees. I've seen Dimensional have this problem. Bamkey definitely has this problem. Even Top Tie has this problem, in my opinion. And I think that the biggest way, especially at the top levels, the biggest ways to kind of combat this problem is to essentially learn how to move and how to utilize your movement. If I sound off today, please forgive me. I am very sick. Hopefully, with nothing too serious. I will find out by tomorrow. But if I seem a bit off, I deeply apologize to you guys. I'm going to try my best to not let it affect the stream, but it is rather difficult to rather difficult. I appreciate it, but if possible, please don't ever, please don't tell me to take it easy. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, just don't prescribe me medical advice or anything like that, or even like friendly advice. I know it's friendly, but it just makes me uncomfortable. But yeah, point being, I would say the biggest thing that I would worry about, I would say the biggest thing that I think is going to affect the majority of players is you guys have a hard time across the board approaching and retreating. So what does that mean? Approaching and retreating, meaning if, let's say, we're in a situation with this team, and I'm actually going to kind of quiz the chat a little bit. For the 10 of you that are here, let's say that I'm fighting an opponent with this team, and he's just doing this. We've all had this situation in ranked. We've all come across a player that just sits there and does exactly what Blue Goku's doing right now. How do you approach him? Because I'll show you some common answers while you guys answer the question, but I want you to think about this situation, and I want you to think about this team. How would you approach him using this team? Specifically with Cell on point. The most common answers I see are usually this, which is a free 2H. Yeah, that's another thing. Do this. You know, maybe you'll do this. You know, assist call into pressure. I'll see this a lot. I'll see this a lot. You know, those are the most common answers, I think. The biggest one that I'll also see is maybe you'll do this, where you'll like just kind of hang out, and then do this, call and assist. This is the Top Tie special. This is literally how Top Tie gets in. Literally just presses a button into an assist, or he'll just call an assist to put you in a position, and then just immediately press a button, and then reflect if he sees you trying to do anything. Maybe you'll do something like, like this, or even like this, perhaps, to kind of catch them off guard. If you're not particularly great at the game, maybe you'll do this to win neutral, and then you'll call an assist to keep your turn. So you'll do something like that to win neutral. Oh, look at that. Ryan literally said. But the thing is why would I... But here's the thing. Here's the problem with every single approach that I just talked about. Okay? Because you have Kefla and Dash Jump. Okay, that's good. Probably the best one out of the group. Start an assist with an assist call into pressure. Okay. Hey, Gossine, what's up? It's pretty late for you, isn't it? But it's good to see you here, man. But let's go ahead and discuss the problems with all of these approaches. So, if he's just chilling here, if I do this, even if I call it with an assist, that is a free 2H. My assist call can get reflected. I can mistime my assist and whatnot. Both of these things can get reflected. I can end up in a bad situation. If my opponent has an assist-like barrier, you're just going to kind of die. Not exactly the brightest situation in the world, in my opinion. Someone suggested this. But this gets negated for the same reason that this gets negated. So I'll do maybe... So, the biggest problem with those is if your opponent is smart, they're going to reflect the assist. If they reflect the assist, this is only 25 frames of block stun. If they reflect the assist and I follow the assist behind, it is no longer my turn. I could theoretically do that, but if they are doing this, I'm barely plus enough to frame trap. So, if they're barely plus enough to frame trap, when you reflect an assist, generally, you nullify a lot of the block stun. Now, the biggest thing to remember is that you are still technically plus. Like, it is still technically, potentially your turn. They could double reflect, but we'll talk about that at another time. But the point being is that they usually have options, and if I'm dashing behind the assist, I might no longer be plus at that point, because I'm moving. I think that every option is going to have something that beats it. No. No. There's a correct answer. But the big problem here is that if you get your assist reflected, it's no longer your turn. You can get 2H'd, you can get, jabbed and whatnot. Not exactly the best situation to be in. So while this theoretically does work, and you'll even see this sometimes at high level, there are better ways to do it that are a little bit better. And, there are things that you could do to kind of get away with it. Now, you could theoretically do this. This is a very safe approach. If they're just sitting there, you could theoretically do something like this. Not that, I'm sorry. You could theoretically do something like this. You could just jail into Vanish. And then take your turn. The only problem is Vanish has no Gatling options. And you will see this at high level. At high level, especially with beam assists, you'll often see, especially a Japanese player, do something like this. To be plus. So you do something like... of course, you can do that. The beams are a little bit slower, so you can even do something like that as well. The assist catches any mash attempts, so technically you take your turn if it's a normal beam, or a beam assist like SSJ Goku or Trunks. It's, all intents and purposes, your turn, and gapless. But, it's very expensive. Now, if you know how to pressure, if you've been doing your homework, you're fine spending resources because you don't necessarily need too many of them, but it's still not a favorable position because your pressure is always going to be stronger when you have resources. And that's just a simple fact. As scary as it could be solo, it is almost always scarier. It is always scarier when you have an assist, or when you have an assist, or when you have bar, or ideally both. Because if I have assists, if I especially like a good blocks and assist, and I win neutral, I don't have to waste my time pressuring you. I could just do something like I can do like a mix-up, you know, I can do, you know, something cute like that. You know, something like into cross-up. Like, you can do a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm not exactly just limited to staggering and hoping my opponent kind of presses and hoping that I can make my situation ambiguous enough to be able to get away with like a 6M like that. I'm sorry, a DR like that. So, when you have that situation and whatnot, it's very expensive. So while that is the best solution, I think, out of all of these, it's almost not worth it. So, how do we approach him? We're going to talk about some tactics today, because this is one of the most common situations. Now, to reiterate and recap of what we went through and what you guys should have been doing for master classes, the homework has been practicing your basic movement options. IAD forward, IAD back, dash jump, dash block, and of course, dash block, stuff like that. Yeah. Very, very nice. You have dash block, and of course, that's pretty much what we wanted to cover. And of course, the walk as well. Another thing that we covered was zones. Full screen, zone 3, zone 2. This is basically the optimal distance. This is where most of your pokes would reach. You know, like if Cell dashes forward and presses 5M, it'll reach. Cell's 2M, if it was a little bit closer, might reach. You know, Cell can actually threaten his, you know, not that. His rolling crush here. You can jump up, rolling crush, and it will still hit. And of course, most importantly, you can IAD him. You can IAD him. That's very important. Now, the reason why that's important is because eventually you're in Zone 1. And in Zone 1, we only enter Zone 1 if we want to attack. If you are not ready to attack and you're in Zone 1, you are making a big mistake and you are taking an enormous gamble. And now you might be thinking, well, I live life on the edge. I always kind of want to take a gamble. No, you don't. And the reason why is because it's not a necessary gamble. You're not necessarily improving your position. You're not actually, you're not improving your position. You're not in any sort of favorable situation. Everything is a giant scramble at this point because you don't know what you're doing. Your opponent doesn't necessarily know what they're doing. And as a result, you're going to end up really, really, really struggling to gain control over the situation because it's very hard to properly attack without getting punished in this position. Your turn is not guaranteed here. And entering Zone 1 should not be confused with winning neutral. Like, if you're here through happenstance, like let's say you're, you know, jumping around, hey, and then you land, like, right here. This is not good. This is not good. You want to avoid this as much as possible. And the reason why is because if I'm here, your opponent might try to attack. Your opponent might try to bait your assists and whatnot. This is not a great situation. So, to reiterate, the number one rule is if you're going to approach, find a way to approach like that. Because this movement pattern right here, if your opponent does nothing, I'm building meter. And then, of course, if I dash forward and I dash block, I am threatening to come into his space. Oh. Which means, if your opponent is crouching and waiting for this, he's laming you out. He's trying to, you know, get ready to 2H. He's trying to hit you with a special. If he's a Blue Goku here, and I hate it when Blue Gokus do this, he might try to do this because he knows this is a medium scaling starter, and he's going to spark and TOD you, and he doesn't want to waste his assists. The thing is, there's a lot of different ways you can approach him. The biggest one, IAD in. Now you might be wondering, okay, what if he 2Hs you? Well, then we take a cue from our previous lesson. So instead of doing this, why don't you do this? Now, I have all the time in the world. I just entered zone 1, but I'm protected. I am baiting the response. So maybe he tries to 2H. So he's like, oh, I'm going to 2H. And he doesn't see the assist call. The assist call counter hits to 2H. And I just take my turn, put him in the corner, and now he's having a really bad day. Because he was dumb enough to sit here and not move and let me approach. You could also do something like this. Bait the reaction. Maybe he'll call an assist to keep himself safe. Maybe he'll try to air you. You can also do that and get a mix-up in neutral. Something like that, and then take your turn. You could do something like that. And then mix. All of those options, all of these patterns, are how we use the homework in order to basically take our turn. But what's really, 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 really important is to remember the principles at work. What matters the most right here in this particular situation is not necessarily, what I'm doing, but why I'm doing it. Which is, I am trying to abuse the fact that Zone 1 is a risky situation, and I'm paying attention to my opponent. My opponent wants me to come near him because he wants to do some dumb shit. So what if I make him think that I'm coming in, and I'm not actually doing anything, and I can just take my turn? Because anything I do is now really hard to react to. Because I'm in Zone 1 now, and for all he knows, I can just attack. I can just do this. Silly stuff like that. I can just come in. I can bait. You know, I can do something really cheeky and do that, which is very deadly. And especially if he's not ready to 2H, because he's trying to think of like, oh, he's going to come in and do that, so I'll just 2H. Or, oh, he's going to do this, I'll just 2H. Oops, my bad. Oh, look at that. That's very, very, very hard to deal with. So, that's how Cell has different options to approach. Is this a neutral approach application of always be ambiguous? No. But the thing is that approaching is always going to be ambiguous. The problem is that a lot of these games tend to go... A lot of people really overestimate what reactability is. So a lot of the times people are like, oh, DR is completely reactable, you can block 6M. But what nobody ever tells you is that if you're not ready to block 6M or tech a DR, you're not teching that DR. It is very, very hard to do that purely on reaction, because if that were the case, nobody would get hit by... Well, nobody's going to get hit by... Nobody get hit by this. Damn it! That. Nobody will get hit by that. Because the reason why people do get hit is because they're not expecting you to DR there. They're expecting you to do something like that. They're expecting you to do like something like that. They're not expecting... Damn. Damn, it's really hard. There we go. They're not expecting that. Oh, I forgot how to play Cell. You could do a Kara DR, but that's not the point. But yeah, a Kara DR, very, very similar principle. Very similar principle. The timing is a bit weird. They're expecting a different kind of mix-up. But the point is that's how you would approach an opponent that's just sitting there. Now, realistically, this situation's never really going to happen in high level. So, it doesn't really matter, necessarily, any of the patterns that I did. But what's important is the logic, which is... If my opponent's doing this, my opponent probably wants to bait something. They're probably waiting for me to do something and commit to an option that they can punish. So, you bait the bait. And then you just come in. And make it hard for them to deal with anything. Even if they block, it doesn't matter, it's your turn. Let's see. Yeah. Akara DR is... Let's see if he has a good one. Yeah, kind of. Akara DR is that. It's like that. You can literally see the startup of his 5L. Pain. It's not that good. Yeah, it's not very good. What? Pain. Now I'm kind of curious. Pain. Whatever. Point being... Man, I'm rusty. Point being is that is an example of how you approach in this game. Now, the reason why I bring this up and I'm starting with here is because I really want you guys to think about how to approach your opponent and how to keep yourself safe, you know, things like dash block plus assist, you know, call and assist and then ID in, you know, stuff like that, you know, bait stuff, ID block, you know, and you can even do stuff like that, and they don't even really expect that. There are a whole lot of permutations to what you could do here, but the logic is all the same. I am in zone 2, I am approaching zone 2, and then I'm attacking from zone 2 into zone 1, because I'm ready. And the reason why I prefer IADs is because if my opponent decides to do, let's say I do something like this, like, let's say my recording does that. Oh my god, what is happening? Okay, cool. Let's say I'm doing this. My pokes might miss. Because if he's here, I'm trying to come in too. And there is a very high likelihood, especially if I do something with the 2M and whatnot, I might just get hit. So that's generally why you see a lot of IAD ins at high level, as well as dash blocks at high level. Or why you see pokes plus assists at high level as well. But that, generally speaking, is what happens, and that's why we usually, and that's usually why we end up approaching and how we gauge the situations in order to try to take our turn. We're looking for the safest way that maximizes our rewards without necessarily being greedy. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the most important part of this, because it's not actually approaching your opponent. I could explain that in 5 minutes, but I want to talk about the habit that gets every one of you killed, including my angel trainees. You don't retreat. So what do I mean by retreat? A lot of you guys, especially ever since I started doing these training exercises for movement, basically what I see the most is I see you guys going in like it is always your turn. It is your turn every single time, and you're not paying attention to what your opponent is doing. So right here, I've demonstrated my intent to attack. But you don't have to stay here. You don't have to pull what this blue Goku is doing. Why? See? You don't have to stay here. You don't have to stay in zone 1. You can get out. And then you can counter poke. Because if you're not careful, your opponent can really wreak havoc here. A lot of you guys, in this particular situation, you're trying so hard, effectively, to take your turn and get your turn started, that you're not paying attention to the fact that your opponent has been ready to attack longer than you have. By the time you've arrived at the conclusion that you found an opening to attack, they have already begun it. It is not safe for you. So, we're going to talk about retreating tactics as well. You see this distance. When playing defensively and when moving defensively, we're going to talk about the inversion of these movement patterns. The biggest one is IED back. IED back is a great retreat. This is very, very, very important. You don't want to approach through a special all the time, but mostly because it requires an assist every time. You know, or the good ones require bar, or you're Bardock and you're only ever going to rely on this. Those are legitimate forms of approaches. However, it's better to start with the basics and then weave these in, because I know a lot of you that play Bardock and whatnot, you tend to... Your entire neutral is just this. Which is not bad, but again, your assist gets reflected and you're like, ha, it's my turn! And then you get punched in the face because you just whipped a special. Because you're not weighing the risks, and you don't know how to move yet. So, I don't want to cover this quite yet, but it is a legitimate form of movement. But the point being here is that you want to approach your opponent on your terms. So retreats like this are really, really, really good. Yeah, exactly. Like this is a very good retreat. You'll see this at high level. Why? Because a very common thing when you see your opponent jumping, let's say you dash block, and then Goku jumps. I'm just going to super dash. So let's say we're just doing... We're doing that sort of pattern. That's very common. I see a super jump, I see you in the air, I'm going to super dash you because you're probably not ready to deal with it. And notice how I'm not really doing it from full screen. I'm trying to approach, waiting for you to land, and then I'm like doing something like that, or... That's really, really tricky to deal with. Even if you can jab super dashes consistently on reaction, like I said, you can only react to the things that you're ready for. So, the big thing here that you have to really, really, really pay very close attention to is how to keep yourself safe. So if Goku is retreating like this, it's a lot harder to super dash. It's a lot harder to get near him too. Like, I can dash block and whatnot, but like, watch what happens if I dash block. Watch this. This is how 21 mains play. You'll probably see 21 do that a lot, because she has an amazing JM. If you play Kefla, you'll see Kefla players do it. There you go. And that's why you'll see that's a very, very good retreat. Another thing that is a bit more committal, so you have to be very, very, very careful. Backdash. Backdash works when you are in two cases. One is when you need to quickly get away from zone 1 because your opponent just whiffs something. In which case, you backdash, IED back. Another way to do it would be IED back, backdash, because backdash doesn't have as much recovery that your opponent can exploit at this distance. The important thing to remember about backdashing is that it is not the same as forward dashing. This is something that I feel a lot of people tend to forget, and when you guys backdash recklessly, I've seen a lot of you guys die for it and then whine about, oh, I was blocking. And it's like, well, you see, the funny thing about blocking, right, is that you can only block when you're not in recovery. And funny thing about backdash, backdash is minus 15. So even if I block the entire time, I'm holding back. Doesn't matter. See? But if I do this... Oops. Come on. Let's do this instead. I can dash block immediately. Which is why you often see people jump back instead. And that's very, very important. You can dash block. You can't back dash block. You will get hit. You are especially vulnerable to lows. And against characters like Kefla, be very careful. So far, we have IAD back, IAD back dash, and then my personal favorite. What do you mean you don't? Oh, I play Vegito A. That is true. That is true. Vegito A will cover a lot. Thank you so much for the follow. Heartbreaker, I really appreciate it, my friend. Another big retreat would be this. The good old up back super jump floats. This is one of the good times where I would say floating is a good thing. Where floating is very strong. Because I've always mentioned, super jump float is the optimal defensive movement. It's not great for offense, but it's amazing for defense. Getting away is incredible. Because you're very safe. If your opponent super dashes you, you can jab it. And what's really cool is you could do this. Do this, and you can control your flight. It's kind of amazing. And not only is it good, but even something... Now, super jump floating back is really cool. But you can also do this. Super jump forward. Because you cross your opponent up. And look at my inputs. I don't have to change the direction of my inputs because I'm always blocking. If I cross up my opponent, I'm blocking them. Very, 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 very strong escape. Because you're essentially encouraging your opponent to... you're encouraging and incentivizing your opponent to approach you. They have to chase you down. They have to take a risk for your assists. You're floating all the way back, almost to zone 3. If you manage to somehow get some dash momentum in it, you're back at full screen. You are creating an enormous amount of distance, and you're in control of your trajectory. So if you do something like... Not that, you can do something like... Damn. Pain. Something like that. You can come in. And you have all of these particular options when you super jump float. And then the whole point, all of these patterns, have one goal: escape zone 1, because you are not ready to deal with your opponent's attacks. This is also a great tactic to get your opponent, especially if they do something like dash block, no, not that, like dash block, call an assist. This is a great way to avoid the assist and the dash block. If they have a beam, it doesn't matter because you're covering the ground. If they have like a tracking assist, you can like fast fall, so you can kind of deal with the tracking a little bit. And you're good. Let's see. Is super jump float weak to being chased by super dash, or is it not a problem since it's hard to jail down from so high? I mean, it's not weak. You could literally just jab the super dash. Like, it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's very, very hard, but you could theoretically do it. Let's see if I do it with JM, actually. Because you have to, like... I'm doing it too early. Yeah, it's very hard. There we go. So, not exactly a free approach. If your opponent is super consistent with that, you're going to get punched in the face. So, it's not exactly free. It's just safer. Let's see. Is zone 1 just a no-go zone? I never said that. Your goal is to get into zone 1. But your goal is to get into zone 1 when you're planning to attack. If you're not attacking, there's no reason for you to be in zone 1. Mods, take care of that, please. But, yeah. Point being, that is really, really powerful. Because you could just get out. And that's an amazing, amazing tactic. So let's say my opponent is being hyper-aggressive. Let's say they're just trying to come in and dash blocking, doing stuff like this. Something like that, alright? I don't want to deal with that. I'm out. I'm out. Oh, fuck this. I'm out. See? And then you just hang out. And then on top of that, the thing that makes Super Jump Float powerful is that Super Jump covers the height distance of a double jump. See? See? But with Super Jump, you still retain an air action. So you can actually go even higher. If you want, you could floats. You can fast fall. Very, very, very strong. So you can do something like this, and then spend the double jump to keep your air momentum if they call an assist trying to snipe your landing. You can control your trajectory, so if I'm doing this, I'm like, stay away from me. And, of course, even when you spend your second air action, you know, you have a lot of options. About the ultimate battle, I don't know what that means, but point is, this is quite nice. And that's how you retreat and you approach. Now, it all comes down, as simple as that is for a masterclass, it all comes down to a lot of the big issues, because you guys already know what to do. Most of you are pretty good at this game already, more or less. And most of you already have, you know, your IEDs consistent. Most of you have your super jump IEDs consistent. Most of you are moon jumping as well. But you don't have the right mentality for approaching because you don't respect the zone. You're too desperate to take your own turn. And sometimes it's better to just wait out your opponent and wait for them to do something and then go in with your own attack to punish them because they're in recovery, or maybe they whiffed something, or maybe they've already spent their assists and now it's safe for you to approach them. That's essentially when the game becomes interesting. I see a lot of very unsafe approaches. And then the second biggest habit that I see is that when your opponent very clearly has the advantage, you guys remain there and you try to mash it out, or you try to like do some weird movements where you're trying to IED in and you're going completely unga, or some of you will just fully mash auto combo underneath your opponent, or some of you will, God, mash 2M with Trunks, which I honestly my brain cannot comprehend the logic there of why you would mash, even as a Goku, why you would mash 2M when your opponent's right here. Like, when your opponent's right here, why would you mash anything? Like, there's no point. Just air to air. But that's the most important thing. Now, your opponent is likely going to be jumping as well, which means that you're going to air your opponent more often than not. So you're just chilling, and let's say we go into zone 1. That's how we approach. We can deal with air-to-airs that way. But the point being is that it all comes down to the same thing. You approach zone 1 specifically to attack. Now, what are the best ways and the best tactics to do so? I can show you a few. If your opponent is jumping around, this one is particularly effective. Empty. Coming in. You will see Fenrich do this a lot. You'll come in, block, call an assist. And then from there, you will attack them based on what they decide to do. So, for example, let's say I do this. Or let's say I do this. But in response, Goku does this to get away from me. Well, now I can kind of chase him. I'm going to have him do this. And then jump away. So, yeah, okay, that's a good timing. Cool. Now I can chase him. Because I'm ready. So I'm hanging out. And I can chase him down. Thank you. I can air-to-air him, and he's not ready. if he IDs back, like that. Let's see. I can still air-to-air him. If he blocks, like let's say he does... Damn it. I can still get him. I can chase after him. Point being is that by virtue of doing this, I am ready to defend and preemptively or reactively deal with however he decides to get over that. What's really cool is high-level tactics, something that Goichi do a lot, is he'll actually jump forward. So he'll do... Because we just talked about how strong that is. No. I'm not letting you. And now... you get put in a mix-up. Now you have to choose your... Now you have to guess for your character. But the point being is that those little patterns like that are now very, very effective. Because you're ready for your opponent, you know what they're going to do, you know what they're going to do, you know how to deal with what they're going to do, and you can try to do everything in reaction. That's a very, very, very strong positional advantage to be in because you just call an assist that is going to protect you. You're going to call an assist that's going to basically counter-hit anything that they try to do. And more importantly, you're in a position where you can chase down their particular responses. So if they try to get away from you, if they try to outmaneuver you, that's a very, very good way to maintain a positional advantage because you just went into zone 1 protected. Now, if they hold it, you now have cross-up abilities, you have a mix-up, you have this, you have a lot of dumb shit. You have, you have mix-ups, you have your ability to kind of control the situation. This is a very, very, very strong pattern. Another thing that's really good is just simply IDing in. Because the reason why is because this is a burst option. This is a burst option. It's very hard to react to this unless, again, your opponent's ready. So they're seeing this, and you have so many options. You can dash jump in, you can backdash, you can do something like that. Like, you have so many options to come in that this becomes very difficult to react to. Especially because you can just do that and bait it like that. So it's way too hard to 2H this. It does happen sometimes. Oh, yep, no worries. Thank you so much for joining me, Danish. I hope you have a good night. But that's how you end up sort of dealing with those particular situations. These are some common tactics that you can use. You basically want to move in order to get them to spend their assists. So, okay, I'm going to call, like, Kefla and then try to approach. Jump over Kefla and then jump forward. Another good thing to do would be ID back and then jump forward, because a lot of the times, like, let's say if you're here, your opponent's coming into zone 1 to try to attack you, you avoid it, and now you come in with your own counterattack. With a very low commit counterattack as well. That's very plus if they block it. It's a very plus if they block it. You can call an assist. You can go into, anti-reflect if you want. Anti-backdash stuff as well, if your character has those. You have so much more control here. You want to move back to move forward as well. And, of course, if you're paying attention, you build meter every time you dash forward. So, you're cool. Good way to build meter before you even start attacking your opponent and get your turn started. And your opponent here should not be letting you do this. If you're on the receiving end of these particular patterns, you should not be allowing this to happen. Obviously. You're going to be IDing back dash to create space. You're going to ID back special forward if you want, because that has a little bit more priority. ID back, create some distance. If you have a good burst option, maybe you could do that. If you have a good whiff punish, maybe go ahead and try that. Point being is allow yourself to retreat. It is okay to get out of there. And this particular rule, it's going to be an inversion of always be ambiguous. If your situation is ambiguous, if your situation is a situation in which you don't have control over what's going to happen, if you're in a situation where you cannot reasonably predict what your opponent is about to do, you need to escape this situation. There is no reason to try to fight it. There is no reason to try to... Hello. There is no reason to try to fight it. There's no reason to try to maintain your turn. There's no logic here. Please, for the love of God, stop pressing buttons. I know it's funny, especially when you have, like, Gogeta 4, or you have, like, you know, Kefla, or Team Gohan, but pressing buttons, even at the highest level, will just get you killed, because all of your buttons lose to this. So if my opponent is just doing this, I don't even know what side I have to block in. That counter hit me. I can sometimes win the exchange. But the point being is that Blue Goku can also just do that. No, Bardock is not immune to SD. None of your characters are immune to this. You are literally whiffing buttons in front of your opponent out of a move that maybe has 38 total frames of animation. Only 4 of them are going to be active. You're basically banking them getting hit within those 4 frames. That is very, very, very precocious. That is extremely pushing it, to say the least. So it doesn't matter how good your hitbox is. It doesn't matter how dumb the auto combo is. If your opponent is above you, you generally should not be pressing buttons. It is very risky. Especially when there are characters that have buttons like this. Like this monstrosity. So if you just start whiffing buttons in front of me, I'm just going to do that. Or better yet, what if I just do... And look at my inputs for this. I'm blocking. In fact, I will hold back the entire time. Ah, man, I can't do it. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. You hit my assist. I'm free, and you're minus. One of my personal favorite. Oh, right, it's no red. I'm dumb. There we go. Boom. Do you fight viewers or just teach? We have ring match evaluations where I do commentary, and I often have angel trainees, people that I've specifically selected and trained to fight viewers and whatnot. I often train people, and occasionally I will do matches if I think you're good, but I generally only do matches against my friends or subscribers. Otherwise, I don't really fight viewers. I like my sanity. But yeah. So in this particular situation, You have a lot of options here. Trust me, it's not that interesting to fight me. You'll have a lot more fun with my trainees. I promise. If you want, you can come back on Tuesdays. Tuesdays we do ring match evaluations where I pop in. And I have some very, very strong players on there. And you're welcome to test your mettle on a first to two against my trainees and people that I personally train. Strong enough. Yeah, strong, definitely strong enough. Let's see. A better question is how good the tea is. In my opinion, probably very tasty. Yeah. No, his tea's OD. Yeah, one of them did take a game off Bumbabon. Another one took games off of Hook and God. Took matches off, I believe, took matches off the Kill Sage. Took matches off. I remember one of them almost beat Measy in tournaments. Like, I would say pretty strong. And then, of course, the person who co-hosts with me, usually, my EU friend. He is Star, probably one of the best Fidels in the world, and fights Wawa from time to time. So there's that. Top Tie has ran through the whole East Coast, hasn't he? Au contraire. I think this is the perfect place for you. This is not a place to compete against killers. This is a place to learn. They, very much like you guys, they may be a little bit more experienced and they probably, have fought a lot of people, but they're here to learn the game just the same as you guys. And they make a lot of dumb decisions as well. Like, this masterclass is essentially a kind of like a pointed jab at most of them. Because a lot of them don't even know this, where a lot of high-level players would consider this quite basic. And a lot of them struggle to do this. A lot of them super jump back and then call the assist and then hope their assist hits so that way they could jump in. Like, a lot of them are not actually being proactive, doing stuff like this. They're not using their movement to the fullest potential to kind of gain the advantage on the opponent or anything like that. Like, a lot of them are pretty basic. But yeah, a few of them have gone through a lot of stuff. The strongest of my trainees is probably Top Tie. He's extremely good, a very talented player, a little bit of a crackhead, but an incredibly talented player. And when he wants to play serious, he can be quite scary. But even he has weaknesses that he's working on. Like, we're all trying to get better at Dragon Ball, and we're all just training here. So, please don't be discouraged. This is the perfect place for you, in my opinion. And obviously, you're more than welcome to hang out here. If you want, go ahead and drop a follow. And if you're really, really, really serious about getting better, if you feel like you're inclined to take your training to the next step, go ahead and subscribe. You get a link to the Discord, and you can end up asking matches for them personally. We'll run some drills. I'll personally train you myself, that sort of thing. And we can basically go over your matches. And it's a pretty fun learning environment. For now, kind of, just because I don't have a capture card. And it's very hard to find any of my trainees that would want to play in PSN. But I do intend on eventually branching out to PSN as well and doing rematch evaluations on PSN. So that way you guys can, at the very least, get in there and not have your PSN be a limit to you getting better, especially because a lot of you guys are nearby locals, so you guys can start, taking these concepts to your locals and hopefully see some success. We're going to view these tournaments live. I always see them after. I stream them at, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesdays after maintenance. Those are usually when the ring match evaluations start. I do have a big Angel Trainee tournament coming up on Saturday, on the 17th. So if you want to see what they all look like now after training and being trained by me and working with me to improve, now is definitely the time. Are we mostly U.S. East Coast? Yes, but we do have an EU division because of my friend and my co-host. He's French, and he plays in France. Yeah, no, please come on by. Go ahead and drop a follow if you haven't already and whatnot, so that way you can get those notifications. If you guys want, follow me at state_Z on Twitter, so that way you get constant notifications up. And then from there, you'll be able to be there on time when we start running those tournaments. Yeah, that's exactly it. But now I have a special treat for you guys. You guys pretty much get the idea. So I'm just going to quickly recap. Number one, be okay with when your tournament's over. Once you're about here, think about the situation. It's not a free opportunity to attack. There are a lot of circumstances. Does your opponent have bar? Does your opponent have assists? What character are you up against? What character are you up against? What tools do they have? How do they use their tools? And how is your opponent playing? If he has Beerus A, obviously that's a very, very tough assist to get in front of. So just because you're here doesn't mean it's a free approach. So think about that very, very carefully. But if you do approach, IADs are amazing. Dash blocks are amazing. You can poke from here, like you can dash forward, call an assist, and whatnot to kind of protect you. And you can even do tactics that bait, such as this. And if your opponent backs away from you, don't be afraid to chase down, and don't be afraid to be aggressive. Most importantly, do not be afraid to retreat. As for the movement patterns that we've discussed here for homework, here is your homework now. Practice this. And then have a recording do different things. You can have the recording do this, and then you can have one recording do this, or you can have one recording do this, you can have one recording do this, and you can practice approaching. So you can basically do something like this, and see if your assist catches them, see if you can, see if you can actually dash up and take your turn, see if you can clip them, see if you can find different methods of approach to get near them, and whatnot. Make sure you get comfortable chasing down a retreating opponent, but also do not be afraid to retreat yourself. If you do retreat, your homework is to practice IAD-JM or IAD-JH, IAD-JL, depending on your character. Obviously, every character is going to be a bit different. For example, Cell, his JH is kind of trash, actually, for this. So you'll see Cell do this. Or this. So this is pretty good. If you're a Vegeta, his JM is really good. If you're Kefla, every single air button she has is godlike. So you could press whatever the hell you want. If you're Beerus, JM, JH, find your good buttons. And find the buttons that beat everything. And that's going to be your homework. Once again, practice IDing in. Empty ID assists. Dash block plus assist. Coming in with a normal. Practice your retreats. IAD back JM. IAD backdash. Backdash IAD JM. You guys get the point. And of course, the biggest thing, practice your super jumps. Practice super jumping immediately to the point where you can do it on reaction. If your opponent gets too close. Get used to being able to do that. And that, my friends, is going to do it. But that doesn't necessarily mean the night is over. We're going to do a very special treat, as I intend to do for literally all of our neutral masterclasses. We are going to watch VODs. Let me see. We're going to see how the top level do it. And in my opinion, while the French are quite possibly the strongest region in Dragon Ball FighterZ right now, I think that in order to learn and appreciate and understand the fundamentals, you don't get any better or more educational than the Japanese. So we're going to watch Goichi versus Fenrich because Goichi has given me special permission to do this. Please don't forget, guys, please go follow Goichi on Twitter at CAGGO1. I believe that's his Twitter handle. Let me make sure. No. So his Twitter is going to be... I'm going to go ahead and share it right here. I'm just going to share a link. So guys, please go ahead and follow Goichi on Twitter. He is pretty amazing. He is absolutely incredible. Obviously, he's the best player in the world, if not one of them. If you can, go ahead and link Goichi. And don't forget to follow him on YouTube as well. He has excellent content, and I want to thank him personally for letting me do this. It is really, really kind of him, and I think it's very educational that he will allow us to do this. So I think we can definitely learn a lot from watching him. We'll watch a couple of his matches and whatnot, and we're going to see exactly the situations in which you will see Goichi not only excel, but you will get to see this in an offline environment. No, you can go ahead and share the link if you want. There you go. So please go ahead and follow Goichi on Twitter, guys. Literally one of the nicest people in the world. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for the subscription, Katara. Really, really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're capable of. Please pop into the ring match evaluation tomorrow if you can and get evaluated by one of our trainees. Guys, let's see if we can get him a link to the Discord. I believe it's him. Sorry. Please go ahead and join us. It'll be absolutely amazing. I look forward to working with you, man. Thank you. Let's see. All right. Let me go ahead and add a window capture because I have to reset this thing every time and it's really annoying. Let's see, and we're going to go ahead and use Chrome. There we go. There we go. Nice and favorable for us. Go ahead and adjust that. I feel that, man. I feel that. I would have a lot of work, but unfortunately I'm sick, so I guess I should count my blessings. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and watch this particular display because it's very, very important. This is a match between Fenrich and Goichi that took place last year in last summer in September 24th and whatnot. One of the first offline sets that happened in the year 2020, the worst year on record. But we are going to watch them play. I miss when Goichi played this team. It's basically his Season 2 team, but, you know, whatever. But now I want you to watch these guys and how they play neutral, with approaches in mind. So I'm not going to talk about everything and all of their neutral interactions, but I'm going to talk about how they win neutral and how they deal with that go-away ad. Right here, beautiful check by Goichi. So right here, both of them don't want to needlessly spend their assists, but you can actually already start to see very similar approach patterns that I have demonstrated here. You can see that right here. So with Goichi, 5S, dash block, dash block, dash block. And then, of course, he lariats in specifically because he's sniping, he is sniping Cell's landing. Doesn't quite hit it, but it's so close that neither of them have time to really react to the situation. But Goichi does lariat plus assist after dash blocking, sniping the double jump because he knew he didn't have another air action to spend. And if he did spend an air action and he ended up backdashing, he could get hit by an assist call. Goichi goes in and immediately takes the initiative and then goes for a mix. Fenrich Tex, very nice. Right here, you kind of go for a defensive movement pattern right here. So right here, you see this. Goichi lands right in zone 1, and you can actually see the exact tactic I just talked about. So right here, he lands, zone 1. If either of them press a button, one of them's getting hit. Goichi does nothing and immediately calls an assist. Just like you guys saw me do. In response, Fenrich floats forward, and look at that, just like the pattern that we discussed earlier, Bardock immediately follows Fenrich. But Fenrich, very, very sneakily, sets a trap of his own and wins neutral because of it. Right here, you kind of create a neutral situation. So if you block 6M without an assist and whatnot, you have a lot of options here. Bit risky, bit of an RPS, but you can essentially backdash. Goichi backdashes, creates distance. Fenrich is ready to return to neutral. Goichi comes back in and says no, and tries to get away from the situation, but unfortunately Cell has really dumb neutral. Oh, getting hit. Yep. Super dash 50-50. By the way, slight thing here. This right here is why I don't think Blue Vegeta is special. By the way, I know a lot of people are like, but the 50-50? It's apropos of nothing, but it's just something that's been on my mind because Sarah and I have been talking about it so much. But Super Dash is a very effective mix. Very nice combos from Goichi. It's going to do some big damage into level 3. Go for the mix. It takes a good portion of Cell's health. Baits out the spark. Now they have to play neutral. Neutral against a sparking character is always very difficult, but we're going to pay attention to this interaction right here. He super jump floats back, but then immediately dashes forward, so he gets a positional advantage. Calls GT. Normally, the reason why GT is such a strong, or GTA is such a strong assist, isn't even necessarily because of the angle that it covers, but it's because we have gone through so many, like 1.5 seasons before he came in, where every time somebody calls an assist, your reaction is to jump. That is the high-level interaction. You want to jump, right? So what ends up happening is because you jumped, a lot of people see GT and they're like, oh, it's a beam, I'm going to jump. And GT preys on that weakness. And Goichi, despite playing the character, unfortunately, he's vulnerable to that instinct. And Cell, immediately with an assist, IED JMs in and wins neutral, just like we talked about. See right here, you can actually see these movement patterns right here. All of these are neutral attempts, or attempts to win neutral. Calls and assist, dash blocks, IED JMs, and of course Goichi retreating. Let's watch Goichi now. Super jump IED back to create as much distance as possible, as well as avoid Vegeta assist. And notice how he double jump JM's back, or JH, I think. I forgot what button that was for GT. I believe it's JM. And Cell, of course, is trying to chase him down, but he's creating too much distance. He is not ready to lose neutral. And then, of course, Cell comes in with a full screen option from Zone 3, plus an assist to get in. Doesn't quite work. Very risky situation. But here is where I want to talk about, because this is the most important interaction, I think, especially for those of you that are a bit higher level. If you guys are my Angel trainees and you're watching this, or you're watching a VOD of this, this is the most important thing that I need you to know. Okay? This situation is highly ambiguous. If you're top tie, you started pressing. If you started mashing reflect, you started doing a whole bunch of things. But in this situation, if he mashes reflect and Cell does nothing, you kind of die. You're kind of gonna die, to be honest. You're kind of gonna die. So, If you try to mash, you might eat a 2M or a 5M. You might eat a giant poke. Or maybe you won't. The point is, you don't know. Goichi doesn't know. In this particular situation, Goichi does the intelligent thing, and in my opinion, the only correct decision in this particular moment, which is a testament to how good he is. Just block. Just block. Seriously, just block. I know a lot of my more uppity players, my very energetic players, you guys are watching this right now. You know who you are. You mashed auto combo here, and you died for it. Just block. And oh, look at that. Because he just blocked, Goichi was able to escape the situation. That's how easy it is. Accept the fact that your turn is over, and accept the fact that your opponent went neutral. That is the most important lesson. You need to understand when the jig is up. You need to understand when it is no longer safe for you to do anything. And you need to understand when it is no longer safe for you to aggress. Very, very good defense from Goichi there. Just dashing the cross up. Very, very smart decision. Very hard to do, by the way. But we won't dwell too much on defensive tactics yet. Good Oki. Goichi techs. Very, very smart. They return to neutral. And they return to neutral because a post-DR tech situation is very ambiguous, very, very, very complicated. But as we see here, we have a super jump back. And here we go. We have a movement pattern that we talked about that's part of the homework. From Fenrich. Super jump back. Backdash. And gets hit. And gets clipped going low. And let's see what Goichi did to win neutral here. He uses a special plus assist to get in, which is very ambiguous. We will talk about that. Kasim brought it up excellently, and it is a valid part of neutral, but we're not going to worry about that quite yet. Boom, boom. Very nice. Boom, boom, boom. Wonderful combos, GT combos. Oh, this character, I'm so tired of him. And the DR is going to land on Fenrich. Depending on how we optimize, this is almost certainly... Yeah, no, this is a dead. I believe this is... Yeah, this is definitely a dead GT. Yup, that's death. Easily. If you know how to optimize DR, very, very, very solid. Gross. Hey, the pattern that you saw me doing earlier. Very nice. Goes for the mix early. That's good. That was a cursed interaction. Oh no. I'm not gonna talk about that. This stream is a wholesome stream. Oh dear. Oh man. Low tier, by the way. Very nice. You can actually see right here, by the way. One more time. Jump back, ID forward, block, call and assist. Woo! Very scary pressure from Fenrich. Very, very good tech. Very good reflect from Goichi to get out of there. Now they return to neutral. Beautiful escape from Fenrich. So watch the situation carefully. We have ID back, JL, to bait the super dash. Super jump back. ID back. Vanish plus assist. I would not recommend this. This is very risky, and this is... It's kind of lame. Because you could just reflect them and reflect the assist, and then you just spent a bar and an assist to win neutral. And as you can see, Fenrich is like, bro, no. I'm out. And as you can see right here, Goichi just... I mean, it's not that bad, but he did just spend a bar and enter meter penalty, and then he just lost one of his most valuable assists. His GTA is coming back, that is true, but there are cleaner ways to win the interaction. He probably would have been better off if he hit EX Lariat instead, if he was going to spend the bar, plus Trunks. That would have been a little bit better and a little bit harder to react to. But, you know, what are you going to do? 5S checks the approach. Fenrich says no. And immediately air dashes forward JM to potentially cut off any approach from Goichi. And Goichi snipes and says no. Those JSs are eating Fenrich alive right now. GT level 1. Very, very strong assist. I'm sorry, very strong super when a character dies. Weak otherwise. Jails into Van... Oh, pain! 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 No! No, Fenrich, no! Reflects. This is a very, very, very dangerous Vanish right here. Because he just got reflected. But he reflects the Vanish by accident. And then causes the DP to whiff right in front of GT Goku, and he eats a 2M. Oh! Oh, man. Oh my god. Can I get a baguette in the chat, please? That was rough. That was... Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. Yep, top level players fuck up all the time. Oh, that's death. Oh, he sparked. Oh no. This is not death. This is still a hurt Vegeta at the very least. Yeah, no, it's... Oh, yeah, no, he messes this up. He actually probably could have gone into Genki Dama and then, like, level 1, level 3, to be honest. Could he have done that? No, he couldn't have. He could have level 1, or he could have level 3 as well and did some big damage to Vegeta, but yeah, this is not looking hopeful. Right here, though. Very, very important from Fenrich. Oh, you think so? I don't know. Didn't mean to send an unfinished message with the bread called. I feel that. Actually, it's supposed to reflect the Vanish. I think the EX kick came from the opposite input and became a DP. That EX kick would have been a really awkward call considering the beam assist that was literally attacking him at the same time. And honestly, I think DP would have worked in that situation, but I think he over-reflected. I would have to lab the specific situation out. And it's very possible that you're right, because that decision makes sort of... Like, I could see somebody making a decision like that. But that decision would have arguably... Maybe not have been as bad, but it would have been dumber, if that makes sense. But I want to talk about this for a second. So, I want to pay attention to how Vegeta comes back from this. Because Vegeta is about to do something very interesting here. So he down techs and immediately aggresses, but misses the JL. Goichi barely gets out of there, floats, but Fenrich does not let him leave, and immediately takes his turn. That is highly, highly aggressive movement. So right here, you can see Fenrich dash walking, waiting for him to spend that double jump. He sees the double jump spent. Hey, I backdashed. How's it going? And he takes his turn. Goichi escapes, but Fenrich uses his own movement essentially to bait out Bardock B. spends one of GT Goku's assists. And remember, when GT Goku finishes spending the other assist, he becomes infinitely more vulnerable. So you have a super jump, dash forward. He, surprisingly, I believe on reaction, jabs Trunks. But unfortunately, he's going to get caught by that special, and it's going to be a dead Vegeta. A very valiant effort, I think, from Vegeta, especially in the last bits of this particular match. Kind of a dying gasp from him, but man, he went down with the fight. The cross under game is very, very, very potent. There are ways you can deal with it, but honestly, just be careful. Very, very good thing here. So watch this. We have a super jump back, JM from both of them, or JM. And right here, one more time, let's watch Fenrich here. Super jump back, JM, dash block. Goichi tries to jump in with an assist. And basically, Fenrich preemptively jabs him, and then immediately double jumps to avoid the beam. You should be double jumping anyway the moment an opponent blocks your air-to-air attempts, because it essentially helps you retain your frame advantage, so you're not super minus when you land, and it helps you actually create some distance between your opponent, which is very important. But that was a very, very beautiful attempt. Fenrich's neutral is just insane. Jabs here, jumps over, calls his own GT assist, and then goes for the cross-up. To be honest, I got hit. Like, he's probably done stuff like this against against Goichi before, and these guys play each other all the time, so they know each other's habits and tactics. And on top of that, Goichi is one of the best defensive players in the world, but that is an incredibly good opening from Fenrich. And a very fantastic way to just win neutral. Dash blocks in, calls the assist, but unfortunately doesn't work out. And Goichi escaping in a very, very interesting way. This is what I mean when I say escape. Like I said, a lot of you guys would end up mashing here trying to take your turn. The reason why Fenrich doesn't want to do that is because he's paying attention to his opponent's assist. And challenging Cell after a special when he has Vegeta is a great way to die. So, Fenrich does the intelligent thing and escapes the situation. Goichi does the intelligent thing, and in my opinion, safely escapes the situation altogether. He sees Rolling Crush, he immediately super jumps back, double jumps, and then lariats out of the corner, plus his own assist, which allows him to come back in and win neutral. That is a very, very, very good escape from Goichi. Puts his opponent in the corner, puts him in Bardock corner pressure nonetheless. It costs an assist, but he got out of the situation clean, and he made sure that he wasn't going to get caught by Fenrich's SSJ Vegeta assist. That is what I mean by escaping good pressure. That is how you escape very, very cleanly. Mashing is good, and you can call out stuff or whatever. If you have 3 bars, you can go for level 3. But those are very, very aggressive. The cleanest and simplest ways to get out are usually the best. Oh, goes for the 50-50, but Fenrich correctly jumps, avoiding it. And now we have beautiful stagger pressure, but he's not ready for the reflect. Oh, he's going to get hit. That's unfortunate. He gets clipped. Goichi's spending a bar to put him back in the corner. But Cell, very, very, very smart here. A little obvious, in my opinion. Dashes up, crosses up, of course. You could probably 2H that. It's a little bit obvious that he's going to go for the cross up here because obviously his back is to the corner. Even though he has a lot of options off of JH because he's so plus, 9 times out of 10 your opponent's going to try to get out of the corner. Goes for a DR. Not quite getting past Goichi's impenetrable wall. Oh! Oh my god! Oh! Oh, that was filth. Into level 3. And now it's Goichi's turn to guess. Well, kind of, actually. I mean, Cell does have Super Jump ID 50-50 here, but doesn't matter. Okay, dash up. Ooh, nice walk back. Good attempt to escape. Goichi kind of feeling himself, realizing that the timing is not quite scary enough to frame trap, so he tries to risk a jump plus assist and takes his turn back. Very, very smart. And Fenrich, realizing that his turn is over, immediately blocks. Very good reflect on the fake vanish there. And that, my friends, is why SSJ Vegeta is a great assist. This cross-up hit legit. This cross-up was a great cross-up. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to confirm it. But if he did confirm that, that would have been amazing. He's going to get hit by the DR. Pain. KL Flawless. Someone gifted me a sub, but I won't be in the US until May. Oh, KF Flawless. Are you already in the server, KF Flawless? Oh, someone give KF Flawless a link, please. Even if you're not ready to in the US and whatnot to play with us, that's okay. You can still learn the game with us if you're interested in that. Not yet, but T is definitely learning. Is one of my more promising players here. There we go. Of course, boom, boom. That is a dead cell. Beautiful. Super jump back. Beam plus assist. Very, very interesting option. A little bit on the riskier side. It's a bit of a commitment. I wouldn't do that, especially in this particular situation. I mean, in this situation, I guess it's fine. Yeah. What a beautiful, beautiful movement pattern here. So all Fenrich does is neutral jump. Goichi whiffs buttons underneath Fenrich, and that's what happens. I mean, obviously Goichi was planning on hitting his opponent. He called an assist, and he thought he had enough block stun to be able to do that, but that's why you have to be careful running up to your opponent if they block something. Even if they block the assist, it can still be risky. Your timing is very, very important. Try not to overcommit until you have for sure gotten them to block and continue blocking. But this is a great example of what happens when you start whiffing buttons underneath your opponent, which is why you don't do this. What a brilliant, brilliant jump. And whiff punishes it and gets the side switch on top of that. Into Trunks level 3. Very, very, very nice play from Goichi. Goichi playing incredibly well and slowly chipping away at Fenrich's team. But the reason why this is important to keep in mind, guys, is because your pressure is vulnerable. And the big thing about Fenrich, I would say, is that his pressure is actually excellent, and he's getting hit a lot, or he's getting hit a lot for it, and he's not really converting those hits, or he's not necessarily opening up Goichi. But it's very, very important to understand why, and it isn't because Goichi's a defense god. It's because they're entering a mind game and they know what they want. So in this particular situation, right here, in this particular situation, in this pressure exchange, the only reason someone calls SSJ Vegeta assist is because they're waiting for Goichi to do something. Right now, Fenrich is like, do something, and Goichi's like, no. He's not just sitting there doing nothing. He's very aware that Fenrich is trying to get him to do something, so Goichi is trying to pick and choose the places where he feels like he can get away with it without falling into any of Fenrich's traps. So that's a very, very, very good trap. Good stagger. That's very good. He immediately commits to the 5LL. Now, the reason why Goichi thought he could get away with this is because that frame trap was rather large. And it was after 5L. So, Goichi didn't quite know. This was a risky jump on Goichi's end. And that's because the timing on 5LL, what Fenrich just did was a frame trap. And if he was just a touch faster on the frame trap, Goichi would have gotten hit. With a medium starter, no less. But the reason why he jumped was because he was trying to punish a 5LDR. But unfortunately, it doesn't work out. If that were Bardock, or a character with a very huge 5LL, he likely would have caught Goichi. So right there, it was just a very unfortunate circumstance. And Goichi, being very smart, gets his character out of there and puts him in a level 3 situation. That's good. Very interesting Trunks pressure. So right here, immediately, he goes for Spark Bait. EX Flip to bait the Spark out. That is another example that not only do these two play each other a lot, but they're both playing mind games with each other. He's expecting the Spark Bait. He knows better and isn't going to spend that Spark until Goichi makes him block. He knows that it is way, way, way too risky in that particular situation. A guard cancels out of there. That's fine. That's another way to get out of there. Gives you your blue life back, but more importantly, begins to preserve your Spark. You don't have to spend it yet. Fenrich gets the stray hit, but doesn't use his resources to convert. Oof. Very weird situation, I think. I don't think that was entirely intentional. Super jump float. Yep. What a great tech from Goichi. He could do some dirtier stuff here, in my opinion. Fenrich could actually be a touch dirtier. The French would have done something a little bit more, not necessarily sophisticated, but less straightforward and a little bit more grimy, a little less elegant. So unfortunately, the basic pressure kind of not doing great. Of course, he overextends, goes for the IAD. Goichi ready to 2H. He has 3 characters. Why the hell not? And immediately goes into a level 3 situation. Get Trunks out of there. Trunks is bleeding. And puts Fenrich in another level 3 situation. Very, very, very interesting pressure from Goichi right here. And then IAD empty into delay button to fake the empty IAD low. Very, very smart, but Fenrich not falling for it. And then once again, he sees Fenrich, or he sees a special plus assist. Goichi ends his turn, 5S, knows he's not going to overpress his advantage for a couple of reasons. Number one, the biggest reason he's not going to press his advantage is because 5S just ended his turn safely, but more importantly, he doesn't have an assist. So if he goes into a special to try to catch something and he doesn't have an assist to back him up, he's not only no longer plus, but he's also out of options, which means he's forced to block. Goichi does the smart thing, 5S, and gets out of there. Fenrich knows that that's his only option. So Fenrich chases. And boom! Beautiful neutral that comes from just blocking. This is the power of just blocking. This is how you escape these situations. This is how you make sure you end up taking your turn back safely. This is how you maximize. This is the stuff that works on the top level guys. Look at this one more time. Look at this brilliant decision making. All because he understands the situation. He's up an assist. There's no assist up. He can't commit to a special. If he commits to a special, his turn's really over. Plus this character has a DP. Oh, my bad. Plus this character has a DP. It is not a wise situation for him to try to do anything in that particular situation. It is so risky in this particular why? Let's see, where were we? I believe it was, yeah, nerfing block. Block is too strong. Let's see, I believe we were, damn, I hate myself for doing that. That is another brilliant neutral exchange, actually. Even though we kind of walked out of there, you saw the power of block, you saw Fenrich take his turn. We're going to watch another pattern. Jumps the assist, and he super jumps forward, more importantly. Super jumps forward, double jumps to cross his opponent up. He's blocking, calls his own assist. Sees a whiffed special without an assist, and guess what? He knows it's his turn. Goichi knows it's Fenrich's turn, so Goichi doesn't block. So instead of risking and just going for 5L and trying to scramble for a turn, he knows both players understand the situation, and so Fenrich can abuse it and go for an X. Very, very patient, whiffs a button, but Goichi lands right back in his thing, and Goichi immediately, just like before, IAD back JM, super jump float, he calls GT, catches it, and then immediately Fenrich goes into zone 1 with an IAD. I told you guys, look how often these players approach each other like this. This is a very common situation, and Goichi himself is getting fucked up by it. There is no reason to be overly aggressive, committing to some weird stuff. Like, honestly, the simplest play is the best. And there you go. And that is now a dead Bardock. Now Fenrich has a character lead. Right there. Right there. So 5S is usually where the turn ends. So Fenrich is like, oh, I'm going to do something. I'm going to try to jump away. Goichi goes for the frame trap. And that's exactly the 5S situation that sadly none of you guys saw, even though you voted for it. So if you guys, please go back and look at the 5S situations and go back and look at the 5S VODs that I did. So that way you could see exactly the decision making going on here. Very, very potent stuff, especially if you know how to abuse it. Oof. Uchi no mina, thank you, minasan. I love this character. I'm so tired of his Genki Dama, but watching him do Genki Dama now is actually kind of hype. Just because it doesn't lead to a broken mix-up. 1859, baby. A lot of damage on this level 3. Yep, that's death. 6 bars and dead, baby. Very good neutral pin here. Very, very good neutral pin. Chases the up tech, but this is why I told you guys have to double jump after you have your stuff blocked, because he did not double jump. He tried to commit, and he got smacked. So if you guys end up seeing that your air-to-airs got blocked, make sure you double jump. What a great reflect. Goichi, his DR teching completely on point. Wonderful, wonderful pressure by Fenrich, but unfortunately a little bit too basic for his opponent. Great block. Oh, no! The reflect gets baited. Pain. The no mix. And of course, that's going to be a dead Vegeta. Because that level 1 now does a lot of damage. Because the character's dead. Very, very, very good neutral. CTF plus assist. Very, very strong anti-air option. Catches Fenrich jumping. Very, very nice JS snipe. Wow. Goichi really on point with his trunks today. There we go. Goes for a DR, but nope. You gotta be a little bit cheekier than that! Neutral mix-ups! No! EX flip and then punches this kid in the fucking head. That's amazing. Oh no! Neutral mix-ups! All right, let's see. Opening Gambit, Super Jump. Oh, look, we have a different opening Gambit this time. Cell decides to dash block plus assist. Very strong opening Gambit. Goichi decides to float back. Try to approach with GT. Gets the hit, but doesn't quite convert. Oh! Ooh! Mm. Ooh. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. Yup. 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 Decides to keep his assist for pressure, but already takes half the health bar. Okay. What's really cool is that you actually got to see decision making in play. So a lot of you guys might be wondering, why didn't Fenrich spark? Because if he sparked, that likely would have been a dead Bardock. And the reason why he didn't spark is because at high level, spark is an incredibly powerful resource. Even though you can use it to win the point war and whatnot, it truly shines as a defensive mechanic. It's one of the only ones you actually fully have that work at this particular level. Thank you for the follow, Paradise. Really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you're enjoying the content. Anyway, so even though you have all these situations, you have even though you have you know, you could TOD and you could potentially kill the point, you're not actually drawing out Goichi's spark, and you're giving up your own, which means that any situation now could lead to a 50-50, and Fenrich is down a very important mechanic that he can use to get out of the situation and potentially save a character. So that's usually why, even though you see a 2M against a point, you won't normally see a TOD. However, if that was a mid or a valuable assist or a guard cancel punish, you best believe that would have been death. What a great little situation here. Cell's bleeding. He delay techs, blocks, jumps away, double jumps, and then escapes the attempt at chasing with a raw tag. And gets the conversion. Fenrich, why are you so good at this game? Fenrich is too damn good at this game. Fenrich is too damn good at this game. No. Yo, he gets the sick conversion. Oh, yup, and he's gonna do some weird stuff. That's okay. You probably misinput that, but he's gonna get a 5H confirm. That would have been a nice little re-jump. His assists may have come back before the end of the combo to help him get a touch of extra meter, but unfortunately, it's not going to work. That is likely a missed input. He probably fat-fingered something else. Fenrich making a few blunders here, unfortunately for him, but he's going to get the 2H! He's going to get the 2H, and that is a dead Trunks. Meter optimal. Oh, pain. So right here, neutral exchange. Fenrich tries to escape, but immediately doesn't block upon landing. And Goichi literally chases him down and punches him in the face. Pain. Can I get a baguette in the chat, please? I'm rooting for Oh! Oh! Oh, yup. Save your most. So, remember what we were talking about with Spark. 2M TOD'd against Bardock probably would have done nothing. Now he's down a character. So why do we build Spark here? Well, very simple. Delay tech, DP, Spark, exactly, Ryan. And now he's going to build a shit ton of bar. Look at the bar increase here. Look at the amount of bar he's building. He's building a lot of bar because of what's going to happen next. Gets the sliding knockdown into Cell level 3. And for those of you that don't know, Cell got a huge buff. If he level 3s you in the corner and he has extra bar, you are holding the nastiest 50-50. And he has an assist to convert it with. Yep, he built 3 bars with that combo. Cell goes for a meaty safe jump. EX rolling and Goichi sparks immediately. Nah, I'm not holding that, dog. But now Spark is out of the equation for both of them. But Goichi's going to get caught in neutral. Yup. Not quite ready for the situation afterwards. Not blocking. Fenrich is now going to carry Goichi to the corner and put him in a type of situation which unfortunately gets negated by the fact that he has Empty Vanish. Is he going to go for another Genki Dama? He certainly could at this point, and if he goes for a Genki Dama, it could be death. Nope, he decides not to go for the Genki Dama and instead tries to go into Bardock level 3 in order to preserve GT's health. I don't believe this kills, but it might. Yeah, I didn't think so. But the DR is going to get him. Pain. So Goichi now ties up this game a little bit, has a little bit more of a chance in this particular match. And both of them are now playing neutral, approaching, poking, and using their pokes in their optimum distances, ending their turns safely, chasing each other down. What an elegant dance of movement. These two playing neutral, you can learn the entirety of everything you need to know about Dragon Ball FighterZ by watching them. You don't even really need my master classes, to be honest. Go ahead and follow Goichi, and if you pay attention and you know what to look for, he'll teach you everything you need to know about the game. I bet my bottom dollar if he actually DR'd here and called GT, he would have hit. Goichi, kind of an impenetrable wall here, but it's okay. He's going to get domed. Because 90% of stuff I can't do yet. Of course you can. All you have to do is follow the master classes. Because the master classes include homework that will prepare you and build the muscle memory necessary to navigate situations like these. So you're definitely in the right place, but the most important thing is not to see what you can do. The problem is to see how the players do and understand their decision making. Their decision making is something that you can understand. The rest comes with consistent practice. But if you're making clean decisions, you will navigate most of these high-level situations better than you think and a lot quicker than you think, because you can essentially move like any one of my trainees. But if you don't understand the logic, you don't understand the reasoning, you don't understand the decision-making behind these players employing these tactics, you're never going to excel, even if you have the execution of a god, because you don't know what to do. So, I disagree. Don't beat yourself up. Follow the decision making. That's the most important thing. Oh, fuck you, Goichi. Sometimes Goichi's a crackhead. Sometimes Goichi's a crackhead. Fuck you, dude. He was so hungry for that. Oh my god, and he kept pressing. Dog, it's not your turn. Goichi, it's not your turn. Why are you pressing? You're minus. You're minus. Goichi. Thank you so much for the follow, Shadowcat8912. I really appreciate the follow. Hope you're enjoying the content. Maybe you can actually help us figure out why the fuck Goichi's doing this. Goichi, no. Goichi going ham. What a great tech. Great tech. Great tech. Oof. Right here. Chases. Chase. And I believe... Okay, we're going to get the moon jump. Good DR. But also, keep in mind, for those of you that have seen, keep in mind for those of you that have seen Star, and you guys will notice a lot of people don't tend to DR, but notice how often they DR each other. Even when they tech most of them, they keep DRing. Don't ever discount Dragon Wrench. It is a very potent starter. It doesn't matter if it's -2. The point is that he really shouldn't be pressing when his opponent has an assist, because if he does something like mashes auto combo and Fenrich jumps, he's going to have a bad day. What a great Dash OS. For the situations, I kind of feel like in this situation, Goichi's doing unsafe stuff because he's behind enough that he knows he has to do something risky in order to take his lead back. Yeah, sort of. Honestly, he's probably just having a lot of fun. Like, he's probably just messing around. I love how every time Goichi gets opened up, it's in neutral. What is it with these kids? Why is every kid in this fucking match getting punched in the head? You can't mix the man. Sure you can. Sure you can. It's just a lot of the stuff that Fenrich is doing is not particularly scary. But notice how the one cursed thing he did, it hit Goichi. But once again, neutral, domes him. This is potentially going to secure Fenrich's lead. Potentially even lead to death? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, this might kill. Yeah, this will definitely kill. Yep. Dumps his whole meter. The whole 6 bars on him. Why is she centrally touching a pan? I don't understand this ad. They do play each other a ton, but they're also just kind of having fun. Like, these matches aren't crazy competitive and whatnot, but they are still very illustrative of great Dragon Ball. Oh, what a great call out. And unfortunately, Goichi's, Fenrich is going to bite on 2-3 success. Vanish will certainly mitigate this particular combo, but it puts him in the corner, and he's losing a big chunk of his health, unfortunately. Fenrich really going to think about getting Cell out of here. How's he going to do it? Okay. That's one way. Very good DR. Mm-hmm. 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 Very, very, very strong pressure. Oh, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? When he goes for cursed shit, it hits. Oh, press 1 in the chat if you got hit. Hell. 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 Wow. 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 Whew. Let's watch that again. In very slow motion. All right. So right here, uses the assist to start, IAD, okay, 6M, 6M, Goichi not challenging anything. Now, here's another thing that's very important. Every time you block a 6M, you can actually engage in the Clash War, and the Clash War is kind of a gambit. Bardock is very good at the Clash War because he has 236M, which is 8 frames. But you don't want to do that because that's fucking Cell. And Cell is quite possibly the best character at the Clash War. Just block. 6M. He tries to jump there, but Cell catches the jump. Android 18 can't do that, sadly. Very good dash resets. There we go. Dash up. Goichi trying to feel an escape out of this situation. Calls an assist. Dashes up. Goichi continues blocking. Goichi showing a maximum amount of respect right now. Very, very, very confident in his defense. Kind of feeling himself. Jumps. Calls an assist. But unfortunately doesn't work this time. He does EX perfect attack plus Vegeta. He's behind him. Goichi can't realistically reflect here because he's not sure what's happening. Cell dashes forward and then IAD's back. And that's going to hit Goichi. That's cursed. You can actually see Goichi. You can. Oh my god! Look at his reaction. Just watch his face. My man's got mixed. He's like, I'm sorry. Hello. Hello. He even did the. He had to adjust his glasses. He's like. My man's was like, bruh. That was a bruh moment. He's smirking. He was like, alright, fair enough. I didn't know you felt that way, Ferris. I thought we were friends, dog. You don't... Oh, you could actually see Goichi getting annoyed. Just this entire time. I want this as an emote for my chat, dog. Goichi's like, yep, just end it, please. I don't think this kills. I think he should have gone to level 3 for the mix, but that's okay. Very nice. Kind of very linear. Not really scary, I don't think. Okay. GT gets the fuck out of there, that's fine. Reflects the assist, very smart on Goichi. Goichi really should think about getting out of here and trying to... Okay. Alright. Very long pressure string. Goichi kind of letting him get away with murder here. Very good dash reset on the 5M, I approve. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow, Goichi has extreme patience. That's kind of crazy. Goichi's pain tolerance is supposed to be pretty high to only look slightly after his wrist got broke. Oh, yeah. Damn, he got domed. He got domed. Oh, my God. He did it again. I don't quite understand it, but yep. That's why you pay attention to your opponent and their assists. Oh, man. Good. Trunks neutral. Notice how he's using CTF. So he only ever uses CTF paired with an assist in order to catch the super jump. Jails into the assist, but if he's not ready, he will jump away. However, his primary form of approach is not CTF itself, it's usually IAD in. Or flip in, I guess. Very good dash jump plus assist. Doesn't quite hit. See? Oh my god, Fenrich. You gotta tech these, man. Who am I kidding? Oh, yeah, you're right. There we go. I'm also going to share the video as well. Make sure you guys check out Goichi, by the way. I honestly thought I already liked it, but I forget that this is a different account from the one I normally use. Pain. But yeah. Guys, make sure you go... On that note, please make sure that you go and give Goichi some love. Seriously, go follow him on Twitter. Definitely check out his tech, and certainly follow him on YouTube as well. This is his tag, CAGGO1, right here. I'll make sure one of my mods has the link put up as well. Please make sure you show Goichi some love, guys. It was very, very nice of him to let me do this for educational purposes. There we go. Very, very nice. Boom, 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 boom. Very nice, very nice. Yep, optimize, optimize, get the kill. It is worth subbing for his thumbnails alone. Goichi, if you're watching this, your thumbnails are godlike, alright? Oh my fucking god! Oh, that is the second time he's gotten EX domed from Trunks. Alright. All the 6M hits! Goichi doesn't block 6M, guys! Look at this. Look at this. And by the way, just to preempt this, if somebody decides to say, or if somebody decides to say, well, it doesn't matter because he doesn't have an assist, he can't convert. That's not the point. Even if your opponent doesn't have an assist, you want to actually block 6M. The reason why is because if you block 6M, like you can see here, you actually have escape options. If you get a hit from 6M, even without an assist, the person who 6M'd you is +3. He can't do anything off of it. But he's still gonna hit you. Or he still hits you, you still take some damage, and you are now blocking even longer than you were before. So yeah, no, Goichi just straight up didn't block. And you are, when you take a raw 6M, you're like -3. It can be a lot worse depending on the spacings, but most of the time it's -3. Good escape. We saw Goichi do the same thing with Bardock before. Very strong. Keeps his Bardock pressure going on. Okay, very, very good dash OS from Fenrich. Goes for the 5M into DR, but Goichi techs those. Oof, got timed out. Alright, guys, this will be our last match for the evening. Hopefully it's a good one. But watch the VOD, guys. Watch this VOD. Watch and review the VOD for today, and you guys will see these pressure patterns at high level. You guys will see, these movement patterns at high level. You guys will understand how they think, or you guys, by the end of today's class, you should at the very least have the beginning understandings of how to approach your opponent in a more safe, efficient manner that makes the most out of your assist calls, that preserves your assist calls, that is actually safe for you and catches your opponent off guard and actually wins the matches for you. I need to learn how to use 6M. I never do it ever. Just press 6M and call an assist. Very good. Dash up 2L. Dash up. Very, very interesting pressure. A lot of dash resets from Goichi, but Goichi kind of overpressing his turn. Gets reflected and is minus pain. There you go. Kind of a weird chase here. Fenrich being highly aggressive against Goichi. Oh, that was a good DR, but Goichi still techs it. Back-to-back techs. I respect it. Oh, meaty DR. Oh, yep. Very good. Even did a little dash. Dash makes everything scarier and harder to react to. These dash DRs kind of eating Fenrich alive here. Ooh, gets hit by the floaties. He did not guess the guessies. He did not guess the guessies, unfortunately. Alright, Bardock, this is going to be a dead cell. And we're bringing Trunks in with 2 assists. Very, very strong configuration. Trunks with assists is very strong. And by the way, if you're playing Anchor Trunks, this is the optimal way to bring him in. Very good tech. That tech was ambiguous. I would not be surprised if he teched with Reflect. Or if he teched with S. Alright, good card cancel. Alright, tries to escape the situation. Trunks pressure. Kind of lets him out. Ooh, but he's going to 2H the approach. So right here, he knows how they like to approach. ID's back, and then 2H's. Very, very, very strong counter poke from Fenrich here. I'm sorry, from Goichi here. There we go. Gets some Oki, blocks the DP, has to spark to keep himself safe, but ends up putting himself in a situation that lands him at a disadvantage. Trunks kind of doing work here, to be honest. Oh my god! Chases, does the cross up, and catches the backdash attempt with 236L. Crazy. And gets the conversion. 236L is a medium scaling starter, guys. Remember that. And into... God, look at the damage. Yeah, there was a vanish in there, by the way. Watch this. Boom. That's why backdashing is very dangerous. Empty vanish. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage and a lot of bar. And of course, because there is a dead character, this is going to do 1859. That is an absurd amount of damage. Not quite enough to kill, but more than enough to put Goichi in a really bad situation. Gets domed. Beautiful! Beautiful attempt here. Goichi should have escaped. But instead, he tried to press his turn. So Goichi made the mistake I told you guys to avoid. And look what happened. If it can happen to Goichi, it's going to happen to you. Don't do that. Escape. Very good DR. Hello? Oh, that is so smart. Sure thing. Thank you so much for the sub once again. I hope you have a great night. Very nice. Okay. Very, very cool. Ooh, okay. They are so good at this game. You have Trunks obscuring this little fucking DR and he still techs it. That DR is like the most cursed DR in the world, and Fenrich teched it. That's insane. Fenrich, why are you so good at this game, dog? They're too good. They're too good at this game. Empty vanishes, manages to whiff, dashes forward, but still manages to block the overhead with barely any time left. That is crazy awareness. God, they're so good at this game. Both of them. That's the smart thing to do, by the way, if you end your turn on a special. Raw tags out. Very smart raw tag. Oh, tries to go for the freaking doming again, but this time he actually misses it. Oh, holy shit! That right there is why you IAD back JM, guys. Right here. There you go. What a beautiful air-to-air from Goichi here. Beautiful air-to-air. You literally don't get better than that. Very, very smart. Gets a Bleeding Trunks out there and brings in Bardock. And Bardock is going to deny Fenrich's escape. So Fenrich tries to dash jump to escape the situation, and Goichi intercepts with a preemptive jump forward JL. Very, 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 very strong awareness from Goichi. Incredible decision making. Really knows exactly what his opponent is going to want to do based on the situations that he creates in the game. He knows that Goichi's bleeding. He knows that Fenrich is bleeding. He knows that he's on the last character. And Goichi, instead of pressing his advantage with Oki, he ends up holding back and waits for Fenrich to try to escape and out-neutral the situation, and then intercepts him in the attempt. Very, very good top-level gameplay right here. Safe jumps, very smart Oki. That was, okay. I know I just said that was godlike, but that was actually dumb. I think it was a crossed, yeah, it was a crossed under lariat. Oh, that was a bad 2H. That was a bad 2H. That's a happy birthday! Ooh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, you thought it was over for Fenrich. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. What a brilliant, brilliant 2H. 2Ms. This right here is why you have to use flips in your pressure as Trunks, because you have no idea how safe you guys are. Brilliant, brilliant play by Goichi. Really fantastic match to end this on, in my opinion. I'm going to go ahead and watch the ad just for Goichi. I'll let it play. But man, I think this is the set, too, where a very funny comeback happens. Oh, yeah. We'll go ahead and leave it here. Just as a funny thing. We're gonna laugh at Goichi's pain. So, I want you guys to look at this, this counter. Okay? But, guess what? Can I get a fucking baguette in the chat? One more time. I'll even play that in slow motion so you guys can see it. That is a cool shot of Cell, actually. Watch this. Dash forward. Calls back. Special plus assist. And he raw level 3s. Goichi's reaction. And there's no spark. And that's how Fenrich wins the match. Can I get a bread in the chat? That is some next level pain. Oof. 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 Anyway, that's going to do it for learning how to approach and retreat. I hope you guys learned something. Please review the VODs. And I will start expecting this in the homework. And this is part of your homework now. I will start expecting this in ring match evaluations. If you guys were here, I want to see you guys do this. If not, we'll do a brief recap tomorrow before I actually start with my ring match evaluations. I'm gonna go over them and whatnot. I want to see you guys implement this. Okay, this is very, very, very important. I'm gonna go ahead and rest. I have done enough. I'm still very sick. Thank you so much for your patience, guys, and I will see you next time.